nice meeting you, everyone. I'm Annie. I'm a medical doctor, so I was also a medical student like you. I have always been, let's say, a humanitarian by heart. Even when I was a student, I was always leading programs for street children, for the marginalized people. I watched the movie, if you know the movie, Shoot the Dogs. So it was about the Rwanda genocide, yeah? And Doctors Without Borders, they were the NGO that was the last to leave from that crisis. So I said, I want to be a Doctors Without Borders doctor someday. So I applied to MSF and I was accepted. And yeah, I'm very happy with what I'm doing. There were 3 babies who were born, let's say, within hours of each other. They were premature. Their weights were like 1.5, 1.7, 1.6, and we all thought they will not survive. However, they did survive because the refugee mothers bonded with each other, and they supported each other because the practice in with them is like they only stay in the hospital for a few days and then they want to go home. But obviously, the babies had to stay longer, so they encourage each other to stay. And then they created such a strong bond with the hospital medical staff that until now they're visiting the hospital to see our doctors, to see the pediatrician, and to build such a trust and to be aware now that they're telling everyone, go to the hospital, these doctors will treat you, blah, blah, blah. They are so nice. It's very touching that we get an experience like this. Supplies. They could not reach us in time, and we had to improvise a lot, and we had to use medicines as alternatives because we ruptured in this kind of medicine, we ruptured for this kind of medicine, so many ruptures. But we had to push for emergency supplies to come, but it was so difficult because everything was closed. So that's one of the most difficult part. Another challenge is the women. They need to ask permission from their husbands to go to the hospital, and even when they're dying, they're bleeding, etc., they need to wait for the approval of their husband. So we just lost a mother with 13 children because her husband her husband was not available, and they had to wait until the last minute. And then when they were ready to go to the hospital, they had to wait again for a transportation to bring them. So it's so heartbreaking that mothers are dying because of all these delays. Until finally she reached the hospital, but we could not do anything anymore because it was too late. So I think that's very heartbreaking to see that because of these limitations we have, this is happening. We have quite a number of seizures as well. That's why we have developmental delays. And yeah, they really had poor access to medical assistance before. And then there's also a lot of sex and gender-based violence. And then a lot of diseases. Of course, vaccination statistics are very low. So you can just imagine lack of sanitary conditions. So we had a patient, a boy who was stabbed. Of course, it's a civil war, so there's all these kind of things. How to say? Even when I decided I'm not working anymore because there was so much suffering, when I met this boy, he said one day he would like to be a doctor like me because I saved his life. And when he becomes president, he will announce that it was because of me that he survived. And I cried. And I said, you know what? I would like to continue being with MSF. So working with MSF made me a better person, literally. I think now I'm less judgmental, I'm more sensitive, I'm more aware that we have a great responsibility to not only to ourselves but to other people. Like as part of the world, we need to be the change that we think it needs. And also, I realized that we have to take care of ourselves. Like if we are so tired or we become cynical, we need a break because we cannot give anything from empty hearts. it's doing a lot of good, even if there's so many challenges, as I mentioned. It's very rewarding to work in such areas of in places like this where refugees are striving to survive. I'm not glorifying working in these conflict areas. You know, it's very difficult, very challenging, but where else to work? Yeah, with where else to work and serve people more than serving these people? I think we need to remember we can also contribute our time for the refugees, for Rohingyas.